Hi, and welcome to episode 36 of the Chronicles of Nidum, presented by Dice of the Beholder and streamed on the wonderful Heavyweight Gaming streaming channel. Welcome to episode 36. Bit mental, but it's actually lasted this long. Had our 2-year anniversary this week. Many wonderful memories of the previous campaign. A lot lighter and happier than this one, so actual wonderful memories. It's a little bit darker this time. I had too much fun punishing them very slightly in the last campaign, which is why this campaign is a lot more fun for me. But yes, anyway, before we get into it, please direct your attention to the box in the lower corner here. And just a reminder, not this weekend, not next weekend, the weekend after is going to be a wonderful charity event on this very channel. A 48-hour gaming stream for 3 brilliant causes, as you can see below. Mermaids and the Rainbow Trust. It's going to be 48 hours, noon till noon, 28th to the 30th, Friday till Sunday. There's going to be much geekery, many dice, lots of games played. So if you can, please come along to support the channel. And no pressure, but if you can, please click on the link, or click on the link in the follow buttons below and donate if at all possible. Thank you. But yeah, without further ado, then we will see the players. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Okay, so last time on the Chronicles of Nidum, you were all elected, almost unanimously, by the others in your troop to take the lead in the investigations of the tunnels. Benkin, the Elven Knight, took issue with this and elected to join you in taking point, bringing with him the automaton known as Fives. It was during one of these rangings, after giving Benkin pause for thought with some hard home truths about his world, you discovered a huge cavern and found that it was actually the war-torn remnants of a Myconid city, a subterranean humanoid fungus civilization. With nothing living here and no real way of tracking what had happened, you got your bearings, rested, and moved onwards, further into the Underdark, but then quickly found yourself ambushed, chased through the tunnels by hundreds of feet and many relentless drones. It wasn't long after running before your party was split. Your main group, Benkin and Fives, travelling down one tunnel, and Ken taking the remaining orcs, remaining halflings with him. Fortunately, Dice had a wonderful trick up their sleeve, and with a very quick use of rope trick, you lost your pursuers, but also then very quickly found yourself out of the frying pan and into the fire, as a mist trap sent you all falling headfirst into a pit. Battered and beaten by rocks, you were quickly surrounded by members of a subterranean sect of the Triton race, but quickly discovered there was also nothing really to worry about, as one of their number, introducing themselves as Asher, told you that she knew somewhere that would be safe for the humans of your party, at least. Giving your word that the tiefling and whatever sepsis was would not cause any trouble, you were taken to the Drow city. So you find yourself coming out, describe it for sepsis again, walking out of tunnels into what appears to be the largest subterranean cavern you have seen so far. It stretches further than the eye can see, and all in front of you is light. It is like looking at the night sky in the air above. It's just this time, all of these lights range across the floor, differing in height and intensity, all shining from the many windows of the huge, beautiful city of Snowcloak. There are hundreds of people just walking the streets, you're not really sure what time of day it is, unless you can ask Oriana, which you can look at a watch. But for the most part, as you stare out across the city, everyone seems happy, well fed, comfortable. There are, quite obviously, as you approach the city, quite a lot of guards about. They look a lot more alert and at attention, and having been informed previously that the city is aware that there is an adventuring party ranging into the Underdark, you can imagine why they're paying a lot more attention. In fact, a troop of 8 of them, I believe I said, are now making their way down the main thoroughfare that you can see on the main street leading into the city. They're making their way towards you now, quick pace, to meet you before you actually get to the edge of the town. Everyone roll a perception check.
I literally just threw a dice over the dice tray, and it bounced off the edge of the desk, and it's gone forever.
This is particularly impressive for me. 5.
Oh great, I did 3.
Who's rolling for Ace?
11 for sepsis, 14 for worm, and more for ace. Let's say 16 for ace.
Okay. Ace then, and worm. Something looks very out of place. Regardless of the fact that there is no sky above you. There is no source of light shining down, which you're used to as you approach cities or towns by now. There's something else missing. It seems to be that the entirety of the city is surrounded by a wide subterranean road. As you approach the edge of it, you notice that you are walking across a smooth stone bridge that is barely, but just maybe an inch above the surface of a crystal clear, just dark moat that stretches out in either direction.
Any aboleths in it?
There is no movement, there is no wind, there is nothing dripping or dropping into the water to break the surface. It is like looking into a mirror. But that is when it twigs to Dice, to Ace, and then to Sepsis, through his telepathic link with Woo. The walls of this cavern seem to be maybe 160 feet away from the city. Honestly, even though you can't see the opposite walls, you can't see further than maybe 120 feet either direction. It seems to be quite uniform all the way around. Every city you have approached so far, you do so by finding small farms until there is much more cultivated farmland, especially for a city this big. It rivals Cardiff in size. Cardid. And as you get closer, Ace and now Sepsis find yourselves wondering, where is their food coming from? Where is their agriculture? What do they grow?
I do wonder this.
You eventually get across the stone bridge. It's maybe 50 feet long. But when you get to it, there are no gates. There's no giant wall. But as then the troop of 8 guards that are approaching you start to shuffle a bit closer, Sepsis, Dice, and Ori, you feel a hum. If Sepsis had hair, it would be on your arms, it would be standing on end. But for the other two, it seems like a kind of static. You just notice a slight shimmer part, like a waterfall being spread. And the guards walk out through what appears to be a magical barrier.
Oh, force field.
Asher,
cool.
you did go.
Can I do something a little bit out of time? Sorry, this is a bit game breaking, but obviously I wasn't here last week.
No, that's fine.
So when we were being chased by the hundreds of the pitter patter of hundreds of tiny feet,
Mm-hmm.
as Sepsis, I'm just wondering if I would possibly know of any spells or either illusions or summonings that could make that happen, and whether I know of anyone who was in the party with us who would be able to do that sort of magic.
Roll me an Arcana check.
Cool. That's 17.
A retroactive Arcana check.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Sorry.
No, it's cool. It's fine. Looking down, it took a while for the many, there were at least 50 of these small figures running through the tunnel. You did find it strange at the time that there were many illusions among them.
Right.
Of all the 50, maybe 25 were, maybe half were actually really there. The others hidden by the speed of their passage or the sounds that just 25 of them were making anyway, the echoes of the footsteps off the walls. It was an illusion designed to make you think there were more. There were still too many for possibly you to have taken in a fight, but they were all, each and every one of them, probably using an illusion spell to make their force seem larger. With that Arcana check as well, and your affinity for the natural world, and knowing a lot about species, races, things like that, you've read about them. In fact, with the I suppose your master's field of summoning, you know exactly what these things are. Your master has tried to summon them previously and found that they could not. They were darklings, fey creatures, sometimes and most of the time used as servants, said to be friends of the darker fey. They're very much an unseeing, of the unseen persuasion. But they are, and you know darklings then to be maybe slightly taller than a halfling, shorter than a dwarf, very quick, adept at hiding. But they are fey, they were fey creatures.
Okay. So, and I would know that they're summonable. Would I know if that would be more? I guess if they're unseelie fey, that would be more likely the sort of drow style rather than the regular elf style.
Depending on what books you read, you can imagine, you can see it being more likely that darklings would be friends with drow than they would be with the elven empire.
Right. Okay. I'll leave it at that. I'll let you go back to what you were doing.
As the guards then walk out, after leaving your group slightly, taking 2 large steps ahead, nods at them, and they all salute respectfully. The female Triton that has guided you here. She has a quick and quiet conversation with them. They split apart, easily leaving about 10 feet between them, so there's a line of 4 on each side. And Asha turns, smiles slightly, and moves you forward.
Hopped on board, yeah.
She waits a second then as you catch up, and then matches her stride with yours and walks forward. The 4 of you then in front. There are a few more Tritons. A lot of them who followed you here seem to have split off. They seem to have disappeared. There are a few telltale ripples in the boat now as maybe one of them look back. Maybe they have literally just dived off for a swim. But there are at least 2 of them then carrying 5s. So you've asked for 5s to be brought, just in case you can be repaired. And there is also Benkin being carried, barely conscious, chained as well, between the strong arms of 2 others. The 4 of you then are at the front, with Cedric kind of just keeping guard are walking at pace in front of everyone. Asher kind of turns to Dice then.
It's gravy time.
Normally, any prisoners we take, and then she kind of cocks her head actually towards like Oriana, who's walking next to you, would immediately be clapped in irons, exactly like he will be, and then thrown into prison until they can be tried. However, I am assuming you wish for your friends to stay with you.
I think I would take it very much amiss if you put her in prison. I would be unhappy.
The Matron Mother is... it will be a very strange meeting. You were to be presented before the court and welcomed to the city. Having non-human friends in this presentation may make it slightly strange, especially when they are not Trident, Dwarf, or Drow. However, I have searched your hearts, and I believe all of you are true, apart from maybe one of you. But I am pleased to vouch for you all if you would have me.
Please, that would be very helpful towards smoothing the way a little bit, I think.
I'm happy to sponsor you while you are here. Your actions in the city will reflect on me, and I believe I can trust you all.
Thank you.
You can.
For the most part. She kind of does give Sepsis a sideways glance.
Just to explain very quickly.
Sorry, Sepsis, you failed your wisdom saving throw last time.
Sorry, I forgot that bit.
Against the dots, so you were probed and found to be somewhat wanting.
Just your normal distrustful nature came through.
I can't tell if Greg's responding because I think his mic's off.
I don't know what you mean.
I will go ahead. If you will wait in the antechamber of the palace, I will go ahead and announce the strange circumstances that we find ourselves in today, and then I will come and fetch you. She then returns, and in a kind of bubbling, but again, very musical tongue, gives some commands to her followers, and the two carrying Bengen and two of the Drow guards split off and take a right turn down the street. He is safe for now. He is being taken to the dungeon. His questioning will come later.
Okay.
To be honest, I don't know him that well. I'm okay with it.
I'm afraid I do.
I will be very interested if we get a chance to hear your experiences.
He's been nothing but decent to us.
That's true.
Not the same could be said for his apprentice, but
No, he's
he's
not.
been good.
He has been decent to you, then I have questions for you also, but introducing you to the Matron Mother is far more important at this time, so if we can make our way there.
Yeah.
She carries on. You all do. The two Tritons carrying fives follow you. As you walk through the town, the first ring of the town that you seem to be walking through is very similar to the towns and the cities you've been in above. It seems mainly dwellings, a few scattered two-story buildings that seem to look like taverns. In fact, the only difference is that all of these buildings seem to be formed from the stone below them. There are no seams you can see. There seems to have been no working on the stone by tools. It's almost like the dwellings were grown. And a lot of the windows as you pass a few of them, one of them is being repaired, but it's not any glass you've ever seen before. And as you notice this one being repaired as you walk past, you realize that there is a spider going meticulously back and forth across the window, weaving a web so fine that it seems to have been doing it for a while, because it's almost halfway up now. Below where the spider is moving is a crystal clear pane of glass. And it just carries on, and you can see that there is one Drow just waving his hand back and forth, and the spider seems to be following the motion of his finger. The spider is massive. It's the size of a Yorkshire Terrier. But you continue onwards. There are taverns, there are people drinking outside of them. They seem to be quite happy. As you walk through, you notice a large band of dwarves. Not Durgar this time, not the sickly pale, kind of grey pallor with dark hair and lack of beards. All of these now have red hair, blonde hair, huge bushy beards. They laugh loudly.
A great big bushy beard.
Their laughs and their shouts and their song echoes off the walls around them. You can hear them having arguments with the Drow, but there are many, many more humans. More humans than you've ever seen happy, and there are no collars, there are no wrist cuffs, there are no chains. Everyone seems to be equal. And as you walk through, continue onwards, the buildings start to get larger. These ones are grown out of much harder wearing rock and some crystal, none of which are the sickly green from the crystals you were used to from being underground on your travels so far. They seem to be bright blues, purples, a glowing red, all of them more for art and architectural kind of adornments than they are for actual construction. But you see also machines. There is pumping, steams. There seem to be hydraulic pistons moving something. As you walk past, you notice that a smithy is having its furnace pumped by bellows that are completely automatic. And Ace is, I'm assuming, very interested by
mesmerized.
The incredible amount of work. And you do notice that a lot of this work is gnomish in fashion. It's got a very familiar, chaotic, but wonderfully logical design to it. A lot of people would see all these pipes and steam spewing out everywhere as absolute chaos, but you can see the beautiful kind of gnomish, almost art to the design of a lot of the plumbing, the mechanics. But you do see then a few gnomes working on it with human apprentices helping them, labourers, all races wandering around. There are a couple of half-orcs, quite well dressed. One of them has a beautiful drow maiden on his arm. As he throws a joke over his shoulder to his huge, almost 8-foot tall half-orc female companion, you see her with a quite short, quite diminutive, but strikingly handsome human male. And his arm is in hers, as she almost, with every one of her strides, drags him down the path behind her friend. And they kind of tip their hats to you as they go, when you're not wearing any, but they kind of nod as they pass, and they allow your troop to break their stride and then move past behind you. It is a calm and peaceful city, as far as you can tell. Now you are coming into much larger buildings. There are towers, huge, maybe 10-story buildings, some of which reach stalactites that seem to be built into them. And then as you look up even further, you can see some of the lights coming out of stalactites as if further tunnels have been dug into the stalactites above them to create even higher towers. And there are many, many of these. In fact, if you didn't know any better, if you didn't know you were underground, you would say you were in a forest. Some of the buildings that are constructed around the stalactites above you actually remind you quite strongly of the free human bandit town that you were in the woods, in the mountains of Wales, where they built most of their dwellings around the tree trunks.
The mountains of what?
Kimria. Fuck it. But you can see now that all of the further into the city you get, the larger and higher these structures get, the more technology there is spewing out of them. But also the more beautiful they are, the more crystal that is used, the more care is being taken in their construction. Until you get to a large opening. It seems curved as you look around. There are many people walking around what seems to be the town centre, but this is no open marketplace. In the middle of this is one of the most beautiful palaces you have ever seen. Made almost entirely from quartz, hidden by the taller buildings around it. It is like the quartz crystals have been allowed to grow massive. It's stupidly large. You cannot comprehend how high this building is because it's very difficult to work out where the line of one crystal begins and never ends. But you can see then that there has been a beautifully crafted door that leads into the palace, and the steps leading up to it are ringed by maybe 50 drow, 25 on each side. Asher continues onwards. Walks up the stairs, there's about 50 steps in total. Beckons you follow. And as you walk in, the ground below you is the same. It's a polished quartz. It's like walking on a mirrored sea that you see. It's a very strange, trippy kind of feeling as you're almost looking down at solid floor but feeling vertigo as you see the reflection of the roof high above you. The quartz seems to be lit everywhere. It's not too bright, it's not blinding you, but there is no visible sources of light. And as you walk into a room, which seems to be a lobby, there are many drow there, many humans, many dwarves, and they smile and nod. They look a little apprehensive when their eyes clock your half-elf friend. And
What was her name?
Lara.
Lara.
When they look at Oriana, they are roll an insight check.
This will go very well.
Anyone who cares.
This will go very well, I can tell.
17.
Ah, 20. I only have a +1.
As you're looking around, then there is a very welcoming kind of almost aura exuding from them when they look at dice, when they look at Ace. They seem worried when they clock Lara. They seem very interested in Cedric, but not surprised. They've seen this kind of thing before. When they look at Oriana, they seem excited, but not excited in a way Oriana normally elicits from the gaze of most of the people around her.
No, just from the gaze.
They seem interested from a academic kind of standpoint. They seem to be studying Oriana and very excited, but like they seem to be following the curve of your horns. They seem to be like measuring or trying to. You see one of them kind of like putting their hand above their head and going like that to try and work out how tall you are, and as if making a mental note of the height of the new tiefling as pure as yourself. When they look at sexes, they look baffled. They have never seen the like.
I take Oriana's hand, just so you know, just sort of hold on to her as we're walking in.
Thank you.
They
Give it a
notice
squeeze.
then that they've been staring, and quickly kind of there's a lot of very apologetic kind of semi-nods around, like, better sorry, stop looking, and they all continue on about their business.
Good beauty, the gang rag.
So they all do that awkward smile you do when you hold the door for someone.
All right, cheers. And Asher takes you off, and you see as you move around the curve, or around the lines of one of the large quartz crystals, you see a doorway through which are some very comfortable padded chairs, a table. And as she directs you and bids you sit, she motions to the two dragons, and they kind of drop 5s off to one side. And okay, and as you say this, they look at you and just gently place the clanking, kind of lifeless automaton down on the floor. You then turn, and you notice that they walk around the room, and Lara has picked a seat and sat herself down in a single chair, and they take up a position on either side of the seat, maybe a few feet away, ready to move forward and grab her if she moves. Asher kind of looks around. I will send food, refreshments. You must have been traveling for a while, and I'll see if I can find something fresh for you.
Ariana does not eat meat, just so you know.
Oh, excellent. A great many of the people here do not either. For those of you who do eat meat, do you mind lizard?
I've never tried lizard, I'll give it a go, but I'm also fine with no meat at all. We're not picky.
See what they have. Please, a moment. It shouldn't take too long, and then I will come for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And she leaves.
Oh, still feels like Oriana was getting measured.
Yeah, that was weird. But, it was nice to have sepsis as a distraction for once.
Yeah, sepsis, it looked like none of them have any idea.
No,
Not you.
it did appear not.
I've never seen so many confused faces.
I imagine they're going to be the talk of the town.
I expected more people to know what I am.
Well, do you know what you are? I can't.
I do. My understanding, as I was raised, is that my race was hated and feared throughout all kingdoms. That we were hunted, killed on sight. That's what I was told.
Well,
But
maybe you weren't told the truth.
do
Going
you
by
think
everything else your master told you and did to you.
Yes. Perhaps it's foolish of me that it didn't occur to me to question that.
Perhaps, but it
Didn't.
it must be more comfortable now that you don't feel you have to wear a hood all the time.
It's very hard to adjust to. If I'm entirely honest, it was the foundational truth of my life from my earliest memories, was that if anyone knew what and who I was, that my life was forfeit immediately.
You thought we would hurt you.
I thought that you might not, but only you three.
Oh, maybe this gives you an opportunity to make more friends.
And if it makes you feel better, I still feel the urge to hit you over the head at least 4 times a day. It's made no difference, really.
How very comforting.
I thought it might be. Cedric still likes you.
And the dog kind of just walks over,
Well-
sits closer to you.
That makes sense, because as I say, I was given to understand that my race are inherently and unavoidably evil, so it makes sense that your hell dog would take to that.
I think he just likes you. Sorry. So, this seems like a nice city. Surprisingly nice from everything we were told, although it does tie in with the Dryder we spoke to.
Yeah, it reminds me of home.
It's gravy time.
I don't remember quite so much quartz
Or darkness.
or drow.
All right, it's home after dark.
Also, I don't remember spiders walking on the sky.
There's a cavity differently.
I remember there was a sky.
All right, it has the very basics of home, where everyone's decent to each other.
Ah, that's basic. Yeah, we haven't seen that for some time. It's.
You and I remember Nidum differently.
I know, Sepsis. I'm sorry about that.
Need him above ground, or out of wherever you were kept.
Need him out of tower.
Wasn't much of a tower.
The real Nidum, not what you were shown.
It's a shame, you know, that you didn't get to see more of the town when you were there, or the village. It was a really nice place.
Possibly there are a great many things that I've missed out on because of my naivety.
But you
I
get
wouldn't
to.
say it's naivety.
It
You
was
weren't sheltered in a way that made you naive. You've been just straight up lied to.
I was.
No, your deception. You've been deceived.
Yes, but I am well aware that my master lied about almost all things. It never occurred to me to question this one. It's been significant.
The problem is,
months.
Sepsis, when you're a child, the people that care for you are supposed to do just that. They're supposed to tell you the truth and look after you and guide you, and instead your master was a heinous bastard who deserved to have been burned.
The people who looked after you did not tell you the truth, Dice.
No,
We were all lied to, in one way or another.
So I don't know what your basis for comparison is.
well, at the least my parents were kind.
Kind liars.
A fly just hit me in the head. Ew. I think a
You
kind.
see the fly buzzing off into the.
I think a kind liar is better than a brutal.
They thought it was a lie of necessity.
I can't imagine how
Whatever the
in
reason.
danger a fly in a drow city would feel.
Oh, I think
It flies out of a window and is immediately ripped apart by 45 spiders.
It's the most. No, it's a hard as nails fly. It's the most resilient fly ever. They've tried.
It's got a pocket knife.
Flies right up
It's
to
got
a
a
web.
pocket.
Flies right up to a web, pulls out a flamethrower.
But yes, as you are speaking, a gnome kind of walks in, shuffles in, walking backwards, so they don't actually turn to look at you. You can see many kind of mechanical contraptions sprouting from a pack on its back, and it seems to be holding some kind of box, which is hissing and squeaking. And as it holds the box, you can see it moving something with its hand. From around the corner, out of the doorway, you see a small, actually quite familiar robot. It's very reminiscent of the robot that has turned up both of the times Oriana has lost her control of the wild magic. It's a lot less natural. It seems like it's a gnomish copy of a Matron. But it does kind of walk in, and on its back, as it kind of shuffles in, it's very squat, it's about 3 feet tall, and as it kind of shuffles in, it is carrying a large platter of food and drinks. And even while it seems to be like shuffling forward quite chunkily, the tray seems to be on some kind of gyro, and it's just staying perfectly still.
Like a chicken's head.
Yeah. And as it moves forward, its arms three arms kind of very gently place it on the coffee table in front of you, and then you can see the gnome kind of turns around, looks. Good day!
Oh.
And then just starts to walk the robot back out. You can see he's like pushing like a joystick, trying to walk the robot back out to the.
Can I, in Gnomish, say, oh, please, can I have a look at your little robot friend? Just
and,
I just want to have a look.
And it's that moment that he clocks Cedric sitting next to you, and goes, if I can have a look at the dog.
Deal.
Show me his and show me yours.
Yes. And he runs over and starts like pouring over Cedric. And you can hear lots of very appreciative noises like, ooh, didn't think of that.
Don't get too close, it came from hell.
So did most of my ideas, according to my mum. He just carries on, just completely doesn't even look at you, Cedric. Do you want to study the robot?
Yes, I want to look at its little feet.
That's pronounced robot.
And I want to have a look at how it's controlled. And yeah, I want to study it, yeah.
Okay, cool. Roll me a Arcana check, please.
Okay. Oh, I've gone up, Larry. God, I hate this camera.
I just start eating.
Okay.
So do I.
Life is miles away from food right now. That's 23.
Sorry?
23.
23, okay. Before we get to that then, while you start eating, in front of you there are a great many cooked dishes. There are in front of you small platters or small plates of more ways to prepare mushrooms than you had ever thought before. However, there are also quite a lot of above ground plants. There are a lot of fruits you would expect to only be found in tropical places. Some you've only read about before, like bananas. And there are small kind of strange skewered lizards, cooked, skinned. But these are unlike any you have ever seen before. They're bipedal for a start.
Those are called birds, bro.
They are about the size of pigeons. They have
Those are
long
called
tails.
birds, bro.
No, they have clawed feet and what look like small hands, forearms, wings, long tail, and they're about the size of pigeons. And they are skewered straight to the tail and the mouth. And you can see in the mouth rows, very tiny, very sharp teeth.
I'll glance at them.
Are we supposed to eat these with the teeth in?
I think maybe you don't eat the head, Sepsis.
But with your Arcana check then, from the very short amount of time you had previously to study the Matron, you can see that whatever kind of arcane force gave the Matron its life, gave it its independence, its spirit, if you will, its soul, does not inhabit this machine. This machine is very much a hollow shell of a construction, of a construct, sorry. It appears to have some strange kind of focusing antenna growing out of its head, screwed into its head, and you can see that reflected in the large control box that the gnome seems to be holding. As you twang it, it kind of squeaks exactly the same way that the box did every time he moved the joystick. You can imagine that this is how he is signaled and communicated with. Unless you were to take it apart, though, you're not really going to get much more than that.
It's fine.
However, its movement, the hydraulics that go into making it move around, are in fact a lot more rudimentary and simple than your design is. For your design for Cedric is, for example.
Really just to see if there's anything new I can learn that I could incorporate into Cedric or anything else I build in the future. So it's just learning more about different types of robot design.
There's a lot you can take away. It seems to move about quite easily, even though it does appear to be heavier than Cedric. It is made of a metal you have not seen before. Apart from that, though, It's a very, very simple design.
Okay, that's it. Thank you. I'm going to inspect his little feetsies until the gnome comes and takes him away, and then I'll go and eat a lizard, or try a lizard.
The gnome comes and shakes your hand.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, he's beautiful.
Name's Cedric.
Cedric. Stupid name for a dog.
I know.
He just moves the handle and just him and the robot just kind of walk off.
What's your robot's name?
He's a robot, doesn't have a name.
I think you should call him Wally.
No, that's my dad's name.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't say it like Wally, you would say it like Wally. You okay there, Rich?
Wally.
Wow.
You can have inspiration for that.
I didn't come up with it, I can't take it. It was David Uther in the comments for name an NPC.
Ah, okay. Okay. I'll think about it. Wally.
Just like that, yes. It was very nice to meet you.
Yeah. And he just walks off.
Okay, I'm gonna eat a lizard.
Okay.
And munching on
Right,
fruits and
can I
mushrooms
roll a-
while feeding lizards to honey.
Can I roll an insight check to work out if that guy's name was Cedric?
Yeah.
16?
He did seem a bit insulted.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He did seem a little bit insulted. The dog was named Cedric. He took offense.
My dad was
Could be Roger.
True story.
But the robot's gone. As you are eating, you do notice the two Tritons take some small pack from their side and start eating away. And you do get the faint whiff then of, not rotten, but there is a strong smell of fish.
Hey, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Sepsis is eating this stuff, but they probably would have quickly examined it to see if it's poisoned first. So I don't know if there's any sort of roll you want me to make for that.
Well, the easiest way to work out if something is poisoned or not is to imbibe it. Unfortunately, poison doesn't affect you.
Yeah. True.
Roll me a.
We're sat next to you eating it.
Roll me a nature check.
Probably for our benefit.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. It's like a 10. Yeah, it's exactly a 10.
Okay. I mean, with having tasted it, instead of giving you advantage or just lower the DC, with it in your mouth, using the taste of it, the texture, the smell, it does not appear.
The mouthfeel.
Mm-hmm. It does not appear to be poison. There are some very strange flavors. Some very strange things the mushrooms have been cooked with, some very strange things that they've been mixed with. This is not a dish you've smelt or have tried in the world above.
Well, Sepsis is eating the lizard as well as the mushrooms.
Okay.
Yeah.
The lizard is strange. It is very tough, very gamey, very strong flavour. Does not taste like chicken. Has more of a
Turkey.
Pigeon.
more of a mix between kind of pork and beef, but it is a good taste.
Actually, not bad. Sepsis, you seem to be eating.
Yes.
Just an observation. That's all.
Very well observed.
I'm just not used to eating anything that's not pocket mushrooms.
I've handed one of the lizards to Honey to eat.
The
My
is
pocket mushrooms got all wet.
But once they start, they do gobble it down. They're quite happy with
Well, you could take some of these mushrooms with you because you know they're okay.
Yes.
It would actually be much more difficult. You do realise, Sepsis, it would be more difficult to keep these mushrooms for very long because they have been cooked and
Yeah.
are more likely to go off.
Yeah, I sort of figured.
Yeah.
That, like,
They're in sauce.
yeah, cooked mushrooms are not great for pockets.
No.
Good point.
No, cooked mushrooms are quite soggy.
No one wants soggy pockets in their voluptuous fold. Voluminous.
The drink in front of you that has been given is various juices.
Are you doing this on purpose? Because I can't cope.
No, it's not the mouth it comes out of. But there's just various juices. Seem to be fruit juices. Strange colours. There are more glasses than there are people in the room. It seems like they've given you a lot of different options. There are some red drinks. A drink so dark it's almost black, but smells very strongly of berries.
I drink that one.
Okay. It does taste like someone has just juiced 1,000 blackberries. It's almost alcoholic. It's like there's almost a kind of wine hint to it, like it's been fermented. The red one tastes very similar to orange juice. There's also what is very obviously apple juice, but slightly again fermented. So there is a cider smell kind of permeating the room at the moment. There's also a couple of glasses in there. They've given a lot of options for everyone, depending on what you like, and a jug of water.
This is so considerate.
It's really nice.
You should try this one. It's orange juice, but it's red.
I like to milk you feel at home.
Kind
You
of.
turn and one of the Tritons has spoken. He hasn't looked at you. He's still staring at one of the walls off ahead, standing at attention. But the voice did come from one of the Tritons.
It does feel like home. The lizard's new, but everything else feels like home.
Small Sorens.
What?
Small Sorens.
Small sporans?
Sorens.
Sorens. Is that the type of lizard that it is?
Mm.
It's quite nice. It tastes like a mixture of beef, chicken, and looks a bit like a pigeon.
And you see a kind of grimace on his face, as if he very much disagrees with your viewpoint on this, and speaks no more.
It's peculiar to all be treated the same, huh?
Is Lara eating?
Lara is scoffing the food down in front of her.
Hey, we remembered Lara existed. Well done, us. That was a bit unfortunate last week.
There was a lot going on.
Like, just a little update for you. We completely forgot Lara existed until well after we'd triggered the trap, fallen down a hole, rescued each other, climbed out of the water, and then Lara reappeared because we'd forgotten about her.
It happens.
NPCs, man.
After another, unless there's anything else you'd like to talk about.
No.
It takes maybe, you're in the room alone for until maybe half an hour. Another 20 minutes after food arrives before Asher comes back. And you will feel relatively rested. Let's call it 45 minutes, sepsis. And you will feel relatively rested. And Asher, you can hear her footsteps.
Hang on a minute, what happened to all my fucking hit points?
Yeah, you fell down a hole, bro.
Are we taking a short rest?
Yes, you can have a short rest.
I'm not going to bother doing anything because I spent half of it playing with the robot, so it's good.
No, that's fine.
Restful.
You're not doing anything. You're not exerting yourself. So you can still have a short rest.
I've got 40 out of 58. I'm good.
Oh, you mean you're not gonna roll the hit dice? That's fine. Okay. So Asher walks back in. She is flanked by a very officious-looking drow in very clean-cut robes, male, short white hair, frames his bright grey skin. There is a hint, as he seems to be exerting himself a little as he's trying to catch up with Asher, and you can see that that is reflected in the very dark blue blush that's come to his face. It seems to be accenting all of his cheekbones. And he seems to be breathing slightly heavily as he's been rushing to catch up with Asher. Asher, not sweating, not actually, no exertion on her features at all. It took a while, but I seem to have, I believe the Matron Mother is ready to see you now.
Wonderful.
No, thank you. Thank you for the food.
That's all well and good. We like to make all newcomers to the city feel very welcome. They did so with me when I first arrived. Well, not right away. Eventually, I had exactly the same welcome, but the circumstances were very different. So, if you all, again, follow me.
Thank you. I'll follow her. But again, I'm going to take Ori's hand and take her with me.
This is Sarenveth. He is the court scribe. He will be... apparently he likes to practice his art by describing people in his minutes, as well as cataloguing what they say. So he elected to come with me so he could get a good look at you first. And you can see he hasn't, very quickly glances up and he's scribbling away.
I'd be fascinated to hear your description of us.
Hear my description? No. And he turns. And there is a very, very good sketch of all of you.
That's really good.
And it's seated, but your physical features then seated as you were when he first walked in are not incredibly clear. But as you've now stood to greet him and he's been scribbling away, your facial features are almost perfect.
My right wing doesn't normally sit lower than the left. It's a bit sprung at the moment.
There should be a healer I can bring to the court afterwards, if you need it.
It's fine. I think strap it up and a night of rest and it'll be good as rain tomorrow.
Please, the Matron Mother is not one for waiting normally.
No, let's go.
Especially in these strange circumstances. And she takes you back through the entrance you've already walked through, back into the lobby. There are a lot less people now in the lobby. She takes a left, you follow her, and you very quickly walk through just two large quartz crystals. You approach a wall, and they just shift sideways with a very soft grinding of stone. And you walk into a huge auditorium. The ceilings above are littered with dancing lights that just seem to hover. They look like trained will-o'-the-wisps as they just kind of spin in beautiful patterns above you. There are at least 60 people in this room, and they're all sat in groups of 10, going around the room in the spokes of a wheel, like one person sitting at the front, two behind, and then going out. Odd sections, they look like basically you just walked onto a Trivial Pursuit board. As you walk down into the center of the room, you can see that one of these sections is directly in front of you. And sitting on a throne, slightly higher than the chairs that the other people in the front are sitting on, is stunningly beautiful. Obviously Drow, grey skin, blue highlighted by incredibly intricate makeup. Instead of a crown, though, you see that there are tattoos, or at least henna, that has been painted to accentuate all of her features. She wears a dress that looks like liquid metal. Like at any moment, if she stood still, she'd just become a statue. And her eyes stare at you, but they are not cold. Being introduced to the effective queen of this realm, you feel a warmth cast upon you, especially you, Dice, and Ace, as she walks towards you, and she smiles openly as you approach. As you look around, you do notice then the groups arrayed on either side of her are human, dwarf, and then from the dwarves it goes to half-orcs, gnomes, halflings, and the other side is more made up of humans, but again there's a Triton section as well. And these are all the very dark blue, almost purple skinned Tritons with very pale fronts, not the light dollar sky of Asher who is standing with you. But as you then approach, she lifts her hands in front of you, as if to welcome you and beckon you forward. And you see out of the marble floor, the marble rises, and chairs just appear to shape out of the stone. And she clicks her fingers, and cushions appear upon them.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we move forward and take our seats?
I'll go sit down.
Please be seated. I will introduce myself first. I am Hannes Vasana of House Valsarkis. I am the Matron Mother. Pardon?
What's her name?
Hannes Vasana.
Asana.
Vasana.
Asana of House what?
Valsarkis.
Okay. Valsares. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
I am the Ilhadas of the city of Feldé that you find yourselves in currently.
Thank you for allowing us to meet with you.
And who have I met?
My name is Dice, and this is Ariana, Sepsis, and Ace.
Accent.
I'm doing the accent, Rich.
Oh, sorry.
I'm speaking in the same voice I always use.
Yeah, I'm
Because
Oriana
they're being
Deverak.
up in break now.
It is a pleasure to meet you all. You are a very strange party.
We know.
So we understand.
There are very few humans who would openly travel with a tiefling and a green skin as equals.
Outside of here, we act for appearance purposes only as slaves, but in private we are always equals.
What's a green skin?
I think that's you, Sepsis.
We're actually childhood friends.
As you say, what's a green skin, and kind of look around the room, you see that there is a section of goblins as well, and they all kind of, at your questions, smile and wave.
I sort of nod confusedly.
We're actually childhood friends. Where we grew up, it was a lot like here.
Except less underground.
Yeah.
I wonder if you know Marcus, our patron.
Wow.
What is the name of your town?
We can't tell you that, I'm sorry.
Well, there are many towns founded by this Marcus, if it is the same man of which we speak. They all have the same name, just in different towns.
Nidum. The
Nidum.
town was Nidum.
That is one of the names. You are Cymrian born?
Yes. Some of us,
Possibly.
probably. I am. Well, sort of. Yes.
And how did you come to be here?
We saved an elf.
An unfortunate event involving a prince, I think, elf. We saved his life and now ended up being punished for it.
Sadly, we did
They
not
want
know
to
any better.
eventually.
Wait. You are the party that saved Tristane
So it
If
would
that's
appear.
his name, then yes.
and then tried to assassinate him?
We didn't try to assassinate him at all.
Not once.
Sort of wish we had, though.
Yeah, tempting now, I'll be
We
honest.
saved him from being attacked by direwolves, and then the guards turned up and arrested us.
It did later turn
Well,
out
some of us.
the direwolves were actually his pet, but at the time we definitely did not know that.
Wait,
And they were attacking us.
I've heard this part of the story. What about the attempted assassination by fire later?
What attempted to
Misunderstanding.
Then Tristane and his party were all asleep in the house of Nidum, and it was set on fire.
That was
Or
definitely.
if that was by way of a distraction.
We were told we had to get away, and the town was going to have to be dissolved anyway. So it was no assassination,
Then-
we were never really in any danger.
Then you do not know what has occurred since.
No?
Ah. Well, I have heard of you, and perhaps my answers are better left until later. Well, tell me, where did you go after you were exiled?
The first place we went was town. I have to let the dog out, I'm still here.
We went to town. We met with a man called Malcor.
You have met Melkor the Slayer,
Yes.
and
We
you do
stayed-
hear a rousing from the group of half-orcs to your left.
Yes, we actually stayed with him for some time.
Roll a perception check, Oriana.
Uh, 17.
17.
Yeah.
Your name pricks your ears. And in the midst of all of the chanting of Melkor's name from the group of half-orcs to your left, you do hear a whispered,
Yes, sir. He was right. She's pretty.
Oh,
She's gonna want to meet her. I know. Melkor, this is gonna be funny. Can we tell him afterwards? Yeah.
what?
and that's all you hear.
Gonna hang out with them later. Yeah, but we stayed and worked with him for a while before we had to leave.
He helped us, we brought trouble to him, unintentionally. And once again, we were forced to flee.
A moment, please. And she looks to her left, your right, and there is a small human boy, kind of like holding his hand up at the back of the group of humans there, like holding on to the arm of his mother next to him. and you recognize this boy. It's one of the children that you freed from the prison underneath town.
Oh. So this is where you went.
This is them. Definitely them. They were the ones who helped us. They're very, very nice people.
And then he just kind of sits back down, hides behind the larger humans in front of him.
I go,
Thank you.
You helped engineer the breakout then?
Yes.
you did?
So,
His
did you-
Maritas wasn't lying about the underground railroad situation.
I guess not.
So, you left town there shortly afterwards, as Melkor has attested. Where did you go then?
Hostal. Via a train full of human hand monsters.
There was great unrest in Hostal very shortly after the engineered breakout in Tau.
We investigated something in the mine for them. And I might have upset the overseer's marriage.
We also we met someone in underneath Portal, who possibly may be known to this court. Maruthas of House Vinasathan.
Praise the note taker.
I love a player that makes notes.
Well, it keeps notes.
I knew that was what you were looking for when you were looking through your book a second ago. I knew it was. They were very helpful.
Maruthas is a blessed one of the Mother. It was a great despair to us when we thought he would never return. It brought great joy to the city when he eventually did.
He saved our lives.
Is he okay?
I'm surprised to hear that he was able to return. The last we saw him, he was charging into great danger at huge personal sacrifice.
There were a few parts of him that were sacrificed, but nothing that will not grow back with his next shedding.
I tried to heal him a small amount to give him the ability to get home. I'm glad to hear it helped.
The rock fall and the abominations that were chasing him took a few chunks out, but he made it home with more or less of his legs intact. They will grow back.
Glad.
It is one of the fortunate benefits of melding, being one of the blessed of the Mother, that when he sheds, they will grow again.
I'm glad to hear.
Maruthas is currently out in the garden, and he will not return for many days, but I'm sure he will be happy to see you once he is back.
Be glad to see him.
I would like to see him again. After the incident in the mines, there was a bit of a more domestic ruckus. And then eventually we fled again with the wife of the overseer.
Yeah.
So, let me get this straight. Since
It
you
wasn't
have
that.
quite, since you have left Tau, or Nidum,
Yeah.
you have caused great unrest in the empirical outposts in all of Kimbia, and cut a swath of chaos and confusion across Albion.
Yep.
And now find yourselves
below what is possibly the center point between the kingdom of Albion, or the principality of Albion, and the continental empire itself.
We were trying to get to the continent, and an opportunity arose to go through the Underdeep. Underdeep?
Underdark.
Dark.
Underdark. To get there.
Originally, we were intending to go to the continent to find a blood mage to remove the tracking on our persons so that we could work out what to do next, but we were offered a chance to be absolved of our crimes if we came to the Underdark and
Helped.
Benkin and Enkane. However, Benkin informed us that his aim was to broker a truce with the Drow, because I'll be honest,
Negotiate peace.
having met Marithas, I have no ill will against the Drow. In fact, I found you all to be very nice people, so I had no intention of hurting any of you. We just wanted to get down here and then get away.
Honestly, if we could fake our deaths and just pass through.
That was the aim.
There is an uncomfortable grumble of conversation that surrounds the room as Hanesh looks at Asher. They are speaking of your own master, or your master's master, the elf. Asher kind of nods. Normally, those who bring elves to our gates are punished in the same way as them. You, however, were doing so under duress, trying to get away. This was not your fault. So you will not be punished as he will be. He will be used for information and then executed.
Matron Mother, may I speak?
Of course.
I would counsel otherwise. We have had time to spend with this individual. As you can imagine, we've spent time with many elves as we've made our way through the kingdom, and it has been almost universally a fruitless and aggravating experience trying to have any kind of rational conversation with them. Certainly the same is true of Enkane, who is arrogant and brash and foolhardy. The one that arrived with us, however, is perhaps the best hope I have seen that any elf can be reasoned with, can be expected to change their point of view. I know better than most the value of being mistrusting of your enemies, and I have. It seems to me that he may be worth investing some time in.
He may.
If it comes to nothing, obviously the execution option remains.
He may be a very skilled liar, but we discussed. He seemed to have little to no knowledge that humans were being resurrected from the dead, and displayed again what appeared to be genuine distress at this. And when I informed him that Fives was powered by a human soul.
The automaton?
Yes. And his soul still seems to be there, so I am hoping to do something to remedy this for him either free him or repair him, but I don't want to leave him in the state he's in. That's not the point. He seemed genuinely shocked, and he has treated me equally, and Ace equally with Oriana and Sepsis, much to my surprise. He has spoken to me and not once spoken down to me.
It seems like he genuinely wanted to negotiate peace.
He's the first elf we've encountered who seems to have no appetite for violence against other races.
Obviously, Asher's going to know more than us as she's known him for longer, but in the short time we've known him, he's been nothing but decent. His apprentice, on the other hand, I wouldn't bat an eyelid at his execution.
He has been grotesquely racist and unkind. But Benkin...
And it seems to have gotten worse with him being under the impression that Asher is dead.
But Asher has implied that that is not what happened, and there is a story there, I'm sure. But Benkin...
Anesh holds up a finger. Or the Matron Mother, sorry, holds up a finger. Asher? Is this possible? Asher is silent for a moment, staring at the floor, and when she finally looks up, she's very uncertain. Out of all of them, Ilaris, I would say if there was one who was a truly gentle soul, it could be Benkin, maybe, but it depends how far the corruption has taken root, how much the seed has been allowed to grow, how long it has grown for. It may never be removed. But it's possible. Who wants to roll me a persuasion check? Separately, or one of you with advantage?
Sorry.
Because you have all spoken.
Gori's probably the best bet for persuasion.
Okay.
With advantage?
Mm-hmm.
Honesty isn't really in my wheelhouse.
No, but you're damn good at lying.
That is a nat 20 for a total of 31.
Fuck.
Damn.
He is an honest bitch.
And persuasive. Well,
I'm a persuasive bitch.
Okay. And we will find out the results of that persuasion check after the break.
I thought because I need a pee.
Yes. So while we're on break, we're only going to be gone for about 15 minutes. Thank you very much for bearing with us so far. Please stick around for part 2 as we find out whether 31 persuasion check was a success. 31. Right.
That's 11 to persuasion, my dude.
Yes.
It's a heck of a number.
Please join us after the break. While you're on break, please don't go away. Pop down to the links below and check out the information about the awesome charity weekend we have coming up with 48 hours of constant geekery. But yes, join us in 15 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Right, let's go see if this dog has ruined the downstairs, shall we?
You've just eaten 3 of your tea towels.
Actually gone on to break. Because AD normally tells us.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yes, we're on break.
Cool.
That sounded good.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were still mute.
Hey, AD, I need to...
And Stu has just put them.
Hello, welcome back to part 2 of episode 36 of Chronicles of Nidum. So, where we left off, Oriana had just rolled a 31 on a persuasion check to convince the Matron Mother to stay, well, to enact a stay of execution for Benkin. And the Matron Mother, warm up until now, smiling softly, is now cold, very calculating, not giving much away. But eventually then, after maybe a minute of silence, the smile comes back.
Pardon me.
Contrary to what many of the above-grounders say about us, if we are not lovers of violence, at least when it is not necessary, it would have pained me to have ordered the death of an unarmed man, regardless of his previous crimes or what we fear he might do. Fear cripples many races from getting along, and war is born out of fear. Many atrocities are born out of fear.
After the dark side, fear is.
And this is not our way. I will question him myself. I do not, or I fear putting anyone else with him for now. But I will happily put myself in harm's way instead of my people, or those that have joined our kingdom. I will give it one lunar cycle for him to convince me of his words. While we were waiting for you, we received word back from our Darkling Rangers in the tunnels. Your other employer, Ankane, and his troop have been led away, routed from the tunnels, and did not find their way here.
Long may that continue.
The orcs, correct?
None more of them were killed. Many Darklings, unfortunately, were lost, but
Many darklings died to bring us this information.
The one orc with them is a princess, if that's of any use to you. Or at least the other two with her referred to as princess.
she looks to the orc troop to your left, and they all look kind of confused. Did you get a name?
No, I didn't. I just called her princess.
I'm just gonna guess based on the theme of this this game so far that it's probably Fiona, orc princess.
Princess Fiona.
Okay.
The Darklings are quite adept at illusion magic. We will have them show her likeness to the orcs, and they will see if she is one that we can sway to our cause.
I have a question for you, if I can. Our friend Lara, that we brought with her, people eye her with great suspicion. So far, the interactions we've had with Lara were to free her from the chains the Durga were holding her with, and she has been, again, nothing but reasonable to us since.
She was mistreated by the elves as well. They do not trust her, they do not like her, they don't really like to acknowledge that she exists.
The Half.
Now that the attention has been drawn to Lara, who's been sitting behind you all this time, you do see that everyone's eyes are suspicious as they stare at her. wary. Not outwardly hostile, but uncomfortable. There is a long and apparent dark history when it comes to dark half-elves. Most of this is propaganda, but we have been burnt in the past.
Asha asked her when we arrived if she was still under the influence of something. I'm afraid Lara has been unable to speak with us since we became our friend, but
I've heard of this one. Have you had many interactions with half-elves before?
Never.
Mhm.
Have you had many interactions with wild magic sorcerers before?
Me.
Yeah.
Half-elves. Imagine, if you will, you can cast 10 spells an hour. Each one of them, you lose control of your magic. But
Wow.
each one of them produces the same damaging effect every time. That is what a half-elf is like. There is some reason, we do not know which, but it is part of their ancestry, I suppose. They are born with strange skills, abilities, and they are mistrusted by
everyone.
many of the peoples.
I have seen Lara cast no magic since she does not even to save her own life.
Not all of the abilities and skills they are born with or possess are arcane in nature. Some of them are physical. Lara, for example, have you ever seen her in battle?
No. The one time she was in a battle with us, she was incapacitated straight away.
It was more focused on getting her out of the water while the aboleth was trying to eat her.
Was she chained?
Yes.
And now she's unbound.
Yes.
She may forget to tell you this. However, I will warn you now. If you ever find yourselves in battle with Lara in your party, stay behind her.
I work best at a distance anyway.
She cannot discern who is in front.
Good to
Well-
know.
If
You look back and Lara has a terrifying smile on her face for a moment. It sends chills up your spine. And then the smile disappears and a softer, much calmer one takes its place.
sort of a wild magic equivalent of a fighter with no ability to stop,
A rage.
so to speak.
I have seen many go into these rages. Very little can stop them.
I've watched Oriana sneeze herself blue. Odd things happen, but
And at this, the tension in the room is completely broken. The Matron Mother laughs. She giggles. It sounds like a schoolgirl. And it's very natural, very musical, and it kind of resonates around the room and echoes.
Of all the
And-
things you could have brought up with my wild magic, you bring up the time I turned myself blue.
And as she kind of literally holds her sides to start laughing, you can tell that this is a woman who does not laugh often. But when she does, very much enjoys it. You've completely broken her at this point. You can see a tear running down her face. And her smile makes her even more beautiful than she was before. But it softens her quite a bit. She's just another person who happens to be in an elevated position. But it warms you to see her laugh and giggle this way.
I'm sorry. I do not mean offense. You are a
I'm taken.
striking member of your race, and you grace us with your presence. There are not many left in this world as pure and as stunning as yourself.
Thank you.
In fact, I have met only one, and he has not been here in a very long time.
So I've heard.
But covered by many strange burn marks and tattoos, but his color, I believe, is the same as yours.
That is rare.
It's also interesting, Ari.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about him before.
If give me 1 moment, and I'm going to turn around to Lara and just say, Lara, are you going to get us in trouble while we're here?
She looks at you and then kind of just shakes her head. And she makes a few motions with her hands.
Can anyone interpret Lara's speech?
Asha turns to you. She would like you to know that while you are here, she will do nothing to put your lives in jeopardy.
Thank you.
Can I roll an insight check against Lara, please?
Yeah.
Straight up trusting straight away. Yeah, cool. Everyone's good.
It is kind of your MO.
18 on the insight.
You believe it.
I sort of go, right, then we will continue to protect you too.
I trust everyone up until they stab me in the back, and then it's hellish rebuke time.
Yes, Sepsis hates it.
There will be many more details about your travels, your journeys, the people you have met, many more questions that we will have for you. I, in particular, wish to know every detail of your interactions with Benki, this night that we have in the dungeon. But you have all had a very long journey, not without its share of trials. Please believe me when I say you are very welcome in the city of Feldé. And you can, for now at least, if you wish, call this your home. The magical protections we have on the city to stop it from being scryed and blockaded with magic also would mean that I believe your trace is hidden for now.
Good.
Or at least it should be. They have not been able to find this city by magical means for a very long time.
That's good.
They're not very good at following tracks either.
Well, to be fair, we have much practice in making tracks that lead nowhere. However, there are other things in other places down in this subterranean kingdom that even we cannot go. Asha can tell you more if you have any questions. You have done a great service to the city of Feldé by allowing even more free people to find us and bringing us much more young blood who will take over when the oldest of us pass on. And she looks at like the youngest human sitting in the back of the large groups, and the small body from the prison does kind of wave at you. Please think of this city as your home. Anything you wish, anything you need, anything you want that we can provide will be given to you. Please
Is there an inn that we can stay in that we could find?
An inn.
Or something?
There will be a house made ready for you.
Oh,
Oh,
If you wish, unless you prefer staying in inns, there are many fine inns in the city.
no, a house would be wonderful.
I would love, even just for a few weeks, to have somewhere to make a home for a short time.
Well, Asher will be your guide. I apologize, my daughter is not here at the moment. Otherwise, I could help you with your friend Fives, was it? Now, but if you were to follow Asha, I'm sure she could take you to my daughter.
Thank you. I would very much like some help with Fives.
Then I will allow you to explore the city, and when you have rested, please make yourself available for questions, and I will send for you, if that is okay with you.
Highness, is there a library or anywhere that one can conduct research here in the city?
There are many libraries. They are filled with books, even more books every day. We have many scholars working on copying the books that are sent from the other Underdark kingdoms across the lands. It is almost an exchange, if you will, of knowledge. So yes, there are many libraries that I could have someone direct you to.
Thank you. And one final question before we leave you. Does Marcus visit you ever?
Roll a perception check. Anyone who cares asks that he asks this question.
Okay.
They bollocks. They.
Thanks.
I actually rolled a 16 on that.
Nice.
19.
Yeah, Ace didn't roll very well at all.
Okay. Oriana, what was yours, sorry? Okay. Dice and sepsis, then. As you ask this question, there is a noticeable darkening to the blue highlight of both of the Matron Mother's cheekbones. Marcus has not deigned to visit the kingdom in quite a while, but he has promised to visit soon. However, in our lifetimes, soon could be well after you have passed on.
I have one more question. I'm very sorry. The children that came down, I know there was the child from the prison, from Tao. Ori, what was your boyfriend's name? I've forgotten his name.
Malcor. And I cannot remember his daughter's name.
No, that's fine.
Diana.
Tiana. I was wondering, when we left Tao, there was somewhat of an explosion, and I know that Malcor had relocated the children that were there. I wondered if this is where they came.
You hear a voice from your left.
Melkor is safe. He's in the highlands of the north of Kimria with the rest of the free people. Hard for the elves to get up there without getting paggered. So he's quite safe. Keeps the kids warm with his ego.
I couldn't believe it.
A couple of orcs chuckle behind him.
The children went with him?
Yeah, they're actually doing quite well. They are kids and are adaptable.
Good. I was wondering if my squirrel was still with them. That was all.
Squirrel?
It doesn't matter.
I was worried Diana had been separated from him.
That too.
Oh, she's good. keeping him in check. Good girl.
He needs her.
That's really good to hear. We were quite concerned when Ori told us about the explosion that we had gotten him killed.
I mean, it's rare we can send a message, but we normally, take spells every day to help in our capacity for the betterment of the city. But every once in a while, some of us can send a message. If there's anything you'd like to say to Melkor, come find us, and we'll see what we can do for you.
I'm trying to learn that spell myself.
Got someone who could maybe help with that?
I'd appreciate that.
I will have words.
Thank you.
Everyone is being extraordinarily kind. What do you want from us? Nothing so far in our experience is given without a cost.
There are many needs the city has for protectors, farmers, workers. Anything you feel you can bring to the table, then find your passion. And she smiles as you say this. Find where you fit in.
It feels like a utopia. I'm concerned about a catch.
Was this not the way of Nidum? You all learned as much as you could and then decided on your own fate?
Yes.
I guess we've idolized home, that we feel like we'd never find a place like it again.
Explore the city, and you can decide where you fit.
Thank you.
It is a great joy to us that you have finally found your way here. And we are very happy to welcome you to Feldé.
We're welcome to be here.
What?
Yeah. We feel welcome here, that's what I meant to say.
We've had a very long day with lots of falling, screaming.
My wing really hurts.
The court has a lot to discuss that might be quite alien to you at the moment. So please, if you could take your leave of us for now, we will send for you when we have more questions.
Okay.
Again, lots of blessings be upon you all, regardless of which god you follow. I'm sure as you have found by now that all of the gods know each other.
Mm-hmm.
But lots of blessings be upon you all, and as long as you do not commit any crimes or disturb the sanctity of the city, then we will all get along famously.
I hope that we do. I'll ask Asha to take me to your daughter. I'm excited to meet her.
Asha, please, and tell my daughter we could use her help when she's free. Asha kind of looks up at this and says, that may not be today, Ilharis, the mechanic. He's having an off day. And you see a lot of very understanding nods around the room. And they all kind of just, and the Matron Mother, very well, his genius is to be cared for, and his well-being is important to the city. And so tell her there is no rush.
Is he okay?
Instead of the Matron Mother replying, Asha kind of looks at you. You see, because He's the one who's going to fix fires.
Actually, I'm hoping he can teach me instead.
Hold that thought. By your leave, Matron Mother. She nods, and Matron Mother kind of waves you away with another smile. And she's a lot warmer now. Her smile is much warmer than it was even when you walked in, since you made her laugh. It wouldn't be a stretch to say that she likes you all.
Including sepsis? Kidding.
You're in a group. You are taken out quite quickly. Just stalking straight through the lobby. You've realised by now then that most of the people who were in the lobby when you first entered the palace, before being shown into the waiting room in the auditorium, were the actual people then that were in the auditorium when you presented and they come up. Which is why then as you walk out the lobby is practically empty again. But as you get out into the city, as you look then, Oriana checks her watch. It is about 8 o'clock in the evening now. It seems that a lot of the lights around you are burning lower. However, there do seem to be the same will-o'-the-wisps that were floating around the ceiling of the palace now zip in what look like preordained patterns around the streets, just to give a bit more light for everyone to follow. Not so much the Drow, but it would appear maybe that these lights have only sprouted up since the human population has grown larger.
Do I need the goggles to see down here?
Not at all. Not while in the city, no.
Cool.
Asher then takes you off through the streets. It's very apparent after about 5 minutes, everything gets noisier. There is a lot of clanging. There is a lot of singing that goes along with the clanging. And you feel the atmosphere getting hotter and smokier. And you discover that you are very quickly, for about 5 minutes walk, it seems to be venerated because it's quite close at the center of the city, but you were taken into the Smiths district.
Excellent.
There are aces landed.
Wide-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Yeah, just staring around. There are many metals that you've never seen before. There is armor of descriptions that you couldn't possibly imagine. There is one suit of what looks like plate made entirely of crystal. And there are all manner of creatures working together to make and shape this metal. Keep the forges going. And they all, every once in a while, one of them will look up as new faces walk past and they wave and smile happily. A little bit shocked at Oriana. You do get a few more approving glances. The salt of the earth types clock you and kind of follow you as you walk past their shops. You then get to a bit quieter district. These houses are much more enclosed. There is a sudden explosion. Something literally explodes. A huge bang. A window about 3-story above you flies open. A gout of flame shoots out of it. And there's a huge scorch mark then left on the building, 20 feet across the road.
Okay.
The gout of flame goes out.
Does that happen a lot?
And suddenly, a soot-covered gnome head and a soot-covered goblin head, wearing goggles, poke their heads out of the window, look at the scorch mark across the way, take their goggles off, look down, see you, and in unison say, "Sorry! Hello!"
I reply in Gnomish. Hi!
We meant to do that!
I guess I know where Dice is going to be spending most of her time.
And the gnome smacks the goblin across the back of the head and then closes the shutter of the window, and you can hear them quietly arguing as they move away from it.
Oh, I'm going to visit those guys.
And then go say hello.
Another time, I think. It's late and You're broken.
Asher takes
I am.
you to the edge of what is now apparently the Tinkerers district. And there is a quiet house, about 3 stories tall, with a light on in the upper floor window. No lights on the ground floor, or the middle floor. And she knocks on the door. She waits calmly, and after about a minute, the door opens. And you're all thrown slightly, as you all then have to look down, as you find that the door has been opened by an incredibly stunning and attractive Drow. Beautiful woman, pixie cut, short cropped hair, in a wheelchair. But this is a wheelchair unlike any you have ever seen. The construction of it is alien to your eyes. It's incredibly delicate, almost artistic in nature. However, it is also technological. You've seen this. There's some kind of maybe a take on gnome artistry in this, but the advancements made are your jaw drops as you look at this wheelchair.
I'm more attracted to the wheelchair than I am to the Drow.
And the Drow woman. Yes,
This is completely ruining my immersion. All of these like underground civilizations, fantasy, and magical spells and everything are fine, but the idea that someone would be able to put wheels on a chair in a fantasy setting is completely immersion breaking. I don't know why.
But what about the stairs?
Yeah. What does she do about stairs?
He is, of course, joking.
For anyone who's missing the context here, there's been a bit of a Twitter kerfuffle going on over the
The
past.
battle wheelchair.
A really cool and incredible creator on Twitter put up the plans for a battle
Combat wheelchair.
Yeah, including all the stats for using it in combat and stuff.
It was so detailed.
And a bunch of people who don't want other people to have fun decided, no, you can't have that in D&D, where you can cast magic spells and make robot dogs.
So I've decided you can definitely have that in our D&D.
Because Rye's a good boy.
So, the Drow woman looks up at you all. Yes, Asha, how can I help? And she looks down. Sahesh, your mother sent us. We have a request of the mechanic. Is he well enough to visit it? And Sahesh kind of looks up the stairs behind her that you can see now. And is he ever well enough for visitors? As long as they are quiet and do not startle him with loud noises, then perhaps.
Sepsis looks doubtfully at Oriana.
Oriana's looking doubtfully at herself. Like,
We can see. Please, my name is Sahesh. I am the daughter of the Matron Mother of House Valsagres. Please, I'm pleased to meet you. You are new here in Feldé?
We are.
yes, just arrived.
Pleasure to meet you.
Oh, what a beautiful specimen. Whose is he? And she's holding out her hands to Cedric.
He's mine. I made him. His name is Cedric.
And can I meet him?
Of course. And I go,
Is he friendly?
is he friendly?
Oh, he's beautiful. The craftsmanship is divine.
Please, it's nothing like...
How long have you been making him? How long have you had him?
I have had Cedric for... How long have we been traveling? Help me.
About 2 months.
Oh. I've had him for about just under 2 months. I made him, about 2 months ago.
one so new. You are natural at this. He is a work of art. He is wonderful. In fact, keep him with you. He will, I believe, calm our friend upstairs. Yes, I think this might work. Please follow me. And Sarah puts her hand on one of the arms of the chair, and under which you can see it's a kind of stony crystal. And as her thumb rubs over the top of it, it kind of glows slightly, and the chair turns on its own. Goes to the bottom of the stairs, and you can see here with her fingers tracing a kind of symbol on the stone. And the stone and the chair all at once begins to levitate. Not too far, maybe just a foot off the floor, and then starts to move gently up the stairs in front of her.
That's so cool.
Useful thing.
It is a work in progress. There are many different abilities and upgrades I can add to it and remove if I wish, but it is a costly project, obviously quite personal to me. But I'm glad you like it. I will show you the plans sometime if you are willing to take the time to look at them.
Oh yes, I would really like that. Did you make it?
Yes, this is of my design. Of course, it would be insane to think that someone born with the conditions that I have wouldn't immediately go, why can't you put wheels on chairs? It makes it easier. I mean, we've had wheels for hundreds of thousands of years.
You're a salty little bitch.
Surely we can put them on chairs.
You're right, it's a logical solution.
We have wheels, we have chairs.
It makes sense.
Doesn't seem like that great of a leap.
But I wanted to add my own personal flair to the chair, and it can be outfitted with many abilities, or in certain circumstances, weapons. But please, and the chair continues to move at the same pace as you would walk up the stairs, quite comfortably up the stairs, 2 flights of stairs, taking you to the top floor. There is inside a lot of shuffling. The door is closed. Just at the top of the stairs, there's a lot of shuffling. There's a lot of gentle rifling of paper. Every once in a while, there's a crash of things being dropped on the floor, pushed over. Please allow me to enter first and follow me quietly. He's easily startled after what he has been through.
I'm sorry, before you go in, is there something you can tell us about anything we should not say? It sounds like this person's had a very difficult time and we wouldn't wish to upset them by saying the wrong thing.
It is incredibly difficult to make demands of him. There is almost a pathological demand avoidance about his person, his persona. If you ask him to do something for you, you will almost definitely not get that outcome. However, if you passively involve him in something, he will most likely take over and work to completion. It is difficult to discern from his speech what is a true world, what is a genius idea, and what is the ramblings that are party to his condition. But he is first and foremost a good, and from what we can determine of his history, a kind man who has been through a great ordeal, and it is incredible that he is still surviving.
All right.
So please, bear with us.
And she opens the door quietly, and the chair rolls forward into the room. The room is a bomb site. There are papers everywhere, plastered to the walls, the ceiling, the floor. Each one of these papers has diagrams, writing on them. It's hard to make out, but you feel like two walls make up an entire schematic diagram of something that you cannot wrap your head around. The ceilings, there are mathematical calculations that are far beyond you, stretching everywhere. There are books piled haphazardly, but as you walk past them, you see that they do all have the same, this strange organization to them. And in the middle of the room, currently sat on the floor, scrawling on a large canvas, is a human man. He is average height, incredibly skinny, very emaciated, dark hair, but with shocks of grey at his temples that go all the way back. The hair is cut wildly. He has a very, very wispy, dark goatee on his face that looks like it would have been much fuller at one stage, but some of it seems to have either fallen or been pulled out. He has, on the side of his head, where no hair regrows, a large, what looks like puckered scar. It looks like it would be familiar from you from any of your teenage years. It looks like the scarred version of a love bite.
Okay.
You can see that the skin is all gnarled, and every once in a while, as he's sitting there, you have some scratches. Antonius, you have visitors. They have something that you may be interested in. She kind of wheels her chair back out of the way.
I walk in with Cedric by my side. Hello.
Makes no sense. Makes no sense. Makes no sense. Everything's dense. Don't know what's happening. Hello. You're interesting. Very good. You've done well there. And he stroked Cedric on the head.
Thank you.
You've done very, very well there. You've done very, very well there. Moves on his own. Like it. It's nice. No, not one of mine. Didn't do that. No sold. I wasn't involved. Not my fault.
Okay, two things. One, I'm going to sit on the floor cross-legged in front of him. Two, do I recognize his voice from my dream?
The voice in your dream was much stronger, but as you sit on the floor next to him, his hand strikes out quickly and grabs your wrist.
I let him.
In a vice-like grip. It's not painful, but if you tried to move away, you feared that there is nothing you could do to unpry his fingers, safe breaking.
I have a thing as well, just quickly.
Okay.
We've heard the name Antonius before, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
Bruce has said it.
Mm-hmm. Brucius mentioned it when you were under the Hall of White.
I'm gonna wait outside the room.
Same.
As his hand clasps your wrist, his voice does become much deeper, and you are taken back as if you are reliving the dream. And as you stare ahead, you're looking at mathematical calculations, but your eyes skew, and suddenly, like a magic eye picture, the calculations kind of slide into place, and they're not maths. It is words and numbers that when you squint a little and cross your eyes, as soon as you come back into focus, they're not lines of text. They're texts that have been used to form a line. And suddenly you can see an arm and a head, legs. And then you can see others, many, many of them, as if far off into the distance of this 2D picture. See lines and lines and lines of automatons standing there, and with his hand grasping your wrist, his deeper voice, exactly like was in your dream, says, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry."
Don't think it was your fault.
Nothing was my fault. Nothing was my fault. And he stares straight at you. Behind.
Some dice.
Yes, but behind. Behind. And he stands up and lets go of your wrist and starts going over. He just takes a book and tosses it in your direction. And he takes another book and he tosses it in your direction. And he takes another book and tosses it in your direction. You are behind.
I'm behind where I should be?
Yes.
Where should I?
Very good. He's very good. He's very good. He's in front. He's in front of many of them, but not as in front as you should be. He's in front. You're not as full.
Right.
It's not as full. You're not as full. When you're full, you can fill it.
All right.
So that you don't have to capture it to fill it and make it move.
You think I could use a person in place of a soul?
No, you're the person.
No, I got that. I meant me.
Oh, then yes, of course. And he just rushes off and just starts gathering more books. You will need pen and paper. And then...
I get a pen and paper looking very confused out of my bag, like, uh-huh.
You have much to learn. Do you wish to start now? I'm tired.
Yes, I wish to start, but we need to get my friends somewhere to sleep.
You can stay whenever you wish. They took the normal of me.
I see that.
And you can see tears start to form in his eyes.
I go and take...
They ate the normal of me.
Yeah.
When the shiny sword men made me do the thing that gave them the destruction end of the world.
The automatons. Or something else.
No, the automatons were an accident. The automatons were and not my fault. It was the control that was my fault. The control, the thing that stopped the soul being me, being everyone, being who they were.
Okay.
The control, the where's the broken one? Where's the broken one? You're looking at me like there's a broken one. Is there a broken one?
There is. His soul is still there though, and I wish for help to either free him or fix him, but I cannot leave him broken.
Did you bring him?
He is in the palace, I think.
Oh no, the Tritons came with you, carrying him.
Oh, he's outside the door.
Bring, leave. Must work.
All right, I'm going to return tomorrow if that's okay.
Of course. And he starts bopping from side to side, as if he's dancing to some like internal music.
Goodbye, Antonius. Thank you.
Are you here? No, you're here tomorrow. Go.
Not for long. And I leave. And I look at Ori on the way out and go down the stairs.
And Sarahesh wheels her chair after you and closes the door.
He is a genius. I understand who he is now. I had a dream about him once, and he knows me. So that's interesting.
That's very interesting.
He was found wandering the tunnels below. I brought him to my mother. I was testing my little chair. I found him, and he
took great interest in my chair, and if I had not had it, I do not believe I could have brought him back. But he followed it like a carrot in front of the donkey. He is a genius. He is not mad.
I can think
No,
He is.
he's damaged.
He has been hurt.
Yes.
it's
And I do not know if it is a hurt that we can heal. But
this trauma.
there are things. I have seen that wound before on corpses.
It's a bite.
It is.
I think he was bitten by one of the unliving humans.
Nine. Have you heard of illicits?
Have I heard of illithids?
Roll me a nature history.
History. No, nature either. They're the same. But it would give me two different answers, wouldn't it? So, oh, I've got 17. Nice. We will go with history. 21.
I take 19 on nature.
119. Success.
You're muted,
You're
darling.
muted.
It doesn't matter what I rolled. We don't
Okay.
need to. We don't need to talk about it.
Okay.
Not discussing this.
You can't really remember the term illicit. However, there seems to be something that was spelled similarly. Maybe a phonetic way of saying the true name of a monstrous race that was thought to be myth, because it had not been seen or heard from in a very long time. But you remember your history and your biology, and you know them more as mind flayers.
Oh. Yes, I know what one is.
But until now, you believed that they were myth.
I did not think that they were real.
They are very real, and over the millennia, we have had many unfortunate interactions with them. They are quite deep in the tunnels and sometimes make it very difficult for us to move around. But we have. They do not come close to the city.
Good.
Not in any great number, anyway. There are too many of us, and we have collapsed most of their tunnels that would have them reach here. We've left a couple open. It is easier to guard when you only have one or two entrances.
Whereas if you destroyed them all, they would make new ones and you wouldn't know where they were.
You hear Asher from behind you. You're moving down the stairs as this is happening. You hear Asher from behind you. The issue is if their war with the Beholders ever ends,
Beholders! Sorry.
if their war with the Beholders ever ends, then they may turn their attention to you. Or if they were to create alliances with someone else, as has been suggested. And she kind of glances up at nothing really as she says this.
Mm.
I'm sure my mother will keep us informed.
So the illithids broke his brain. Well, they hurt his brain. What do you think?
I'm not going to make you roll a history check. We believe he was a captive of the Illithids from the many things he has written about. He was a captive of theirs for a great deal of time, and apparently used some of his knowledge and his magical ability to do something for them. I do not know what, but...
The end of the world.
Hmm?
The end of the world.
You remember when Brucius mentioned Antonius, he mentioned that he and his friend had been split up and was in the custody of the knights. And you and Brucius didn't know what happened to him.
Okay. That doesn't help me that much, to be honest, but okay. Alright, well, there's not a lot we can do this evening, but at least he's looking at fives. My friend Oriana is quite injured, and I think Sepsis has had some injuries as well, legitimate ones. So, no thanks, Sepsis.
As
So-
opposed to what?
Ace chuckles into their field.
As opposed to that gaping wound you had last time, this is more serious, I feel.
I'm actually fine.
I don't even try to comprehend it. My wing is now dragging on the floor.
Yeah, I need to get Ori somewhere safe so I can.
I just need to strap it up.
I know, but
Perhaps then I could show you to your new house.
Yes, please.
Sarahesh kind of coughs behind him. Where has my mother put them? I believe she's put them in the I think it's the Velshara Maison. The most recently emptied one. Yes. Yes, they've gone back to, I believe it was Olmeth, and their summer home is up for grabs. So your mother has requested them there, I believe. It's a very nice house. It's small, but for a lot of you, I believe you should be okay. It's not far from here. That helps. You can return easily. I look forward to your comings. I look forward to seeing you again. What was your name, sorry?
which of us?
Dice.
Dice.
And your friend was Oriana.
Oriana.
Yes.
It was a pleasure to meet you all. I'm sure we will become better acquainted over the time. But it was lovely to meet you. Lots of blessings be upon
And on
you.
you.
Thank you, Sahash.
And she shows you out, closes the door.
I make sure I've actually still got Cedric with me. I'm like, yeah, still got my dog. Okay, we're good.
Even if you didn't, you'd know where to find him.
It turns out I'm behind.
Only because he's ahead.
Oh, well, that narrows it down considerably, Ori. I spent the entire meeting doing this.
Now, what I want to know is, were you checking out just her wheelchair, or...
Well, I mean, she's very pretty, isn't she?
She's very pretty.
And I did like her wheelchair. I think she might be a little out of my league, to be honest. Maybe not the wheelchair. I can spend some time with that.
Do you two ever think about anything other than who is pretty and who isn't?
Deb says I haven't had sex since we left Nidum.
You talk about it an awful lot.
No, I talk about it with Oriana.
Yes, the two of you talk about it an awful lot.
It's in my nature.
And Ori's my best friend. What do you want from me?
Asher is kind of standing there, looking. She's smiling, but blushing horrendously.
Sorry, Asha.
It's quite all right.
They don't mean anything by it. It's literally all they talk about.
It's if I could, I should show you where you sleep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Very well. Please come with me.
It was just the speech that was embarrassing her, or if there was anything else that was causing the blush.
Make a roll.
Yeah, thanks. I will. It's going to be my worst one. No, it's not. Wow, this dice is like my new best friend today. Like, I got a 20, so it's 21. Because my
Nice.
Okay.
I like how we've all been supplanted by a dice.
As you're looking at her, her awkwardness is, and the blush, at first seems to be just because of the subject matter. But then as you're looking more, and she can't quite meet your eyes as she's responding, it's maybe not just the subject matter. It might be a little more to do with inexperience, or the possibility of no experience.
I would remind Oriana, or tell Oriana about this later. I'm making it.
But she does stalk off ahead for a few steps before she realizes that she's walking quite quickly and then slows to allow you to catch up.
We're coming!
Takes you to a very nice part of the city. The buildings are still covered in the artistic kind of crystal formations that you see. And there is a 3-story house that she walks up to, places a key in the lock, unlocks the front door, and turns and hands you the key.
Thank you. This is, wow.
Unexpected, honestly.
It belongs...
There's only 4 of us. Well, 5.
You look around.
Six.
You look around, and as you've got here, you look around, and a lot of these houses are almost exactly the same. It's not special; it doesn't stand out in any way. But the same care in its construction has gone into most of the buildings around here, and you do see then, as you're standing there on the street, a family of humans walks up. The dad has a little boy on his shoulders. There's 2 twin girls trailing behind them, carrying, and they seem to be carrying packs of some metallic kind of tool. And the mum is keeping up behind them, and she's got she is ripped, and she's got a big, overly large wrench on her shoulder. She kind of walks up behind them, and they kind of wave at you. Make their way into what is the carbon copy of your house across the street. It's like the larger the group, the better the house you get, I suppose, depending on whatever's empty. If there wasn't one empty, we would have had one, or they would have had one grown for you.
Grown?
Stonemancy is something that the dwarves of Feldé and the Drow down here share a great deal, and you can see from their skills that they take a great deal of pride in what they can do. If we need to expand, we've taken up much of the floor space already for as long as I've been here, so they've started expanding upwards instead of outwards. But yes, most of these houses can be grown in maybe one of this size a month or so with enough workers.
Very impressive.
Adding a floor to it, maybe a week.
I feel I have a lot to learn here.
Then please stay, and maybe we can learn from each other.
Yeah.
Very, very well. Please make yourself at home. It's coming to the end of my shift. I think I should go and hand over the change in the guard to the others and give my report for the day.
I see.
Get some rest.
At some point, I would dearly love to speak with you about what happened with Benkin and Ankain. But only if you want to, and only if you ever have time. I'm interested. You can tell me off for being nosy if you like. It is definitely a nosy question, but...
Mostly I want to know how badly does Ankain keep a grudge? Because I may have called him some names quite publicly.
They were justified, Ori.
He is a racist cunt, I stand by that.
You were right.
If once we've known each other for longer, we can have that conversation, but
That seems fair.
Of course.
we have known each other but only a few hours, and I need some time to gather those thoughts together. It's not something I have dwelt on in a long time.
That's perfectly fair, and please don't let me dredge up memories for you. I just wondered.
But please, make yourself at home, explore, and welcome to Feldé.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I like it.
She smiles and walks out.
Um,
And you are in the lobby of the drawing room, sitting room area of quite a large house. As you walk in, there is a staircase leading off immediately up to the next floor to your left and immediately to your right. The main room that you're standing in is maybe 50 feet across, long and wide. It's quite open plan as well. The next floor, you can see the balcony is open, as is the floor above. You can then see many corridors and rooms as you crane your neck to look up. Many corridors and rooms and doors leading off these balconies into other parts of the house. But on this floor, at least, there are about 4 doors on this floor leading off somewhere. But this room you're in, there are couches, tables. There is what looks like a large grand musical instrument sitting over in the corner. It's a very well-appointed space. Very beautifully decorated in crystal.
I'm allowed to touch things.
Touch everything.
I mean, I'm not going to go around and touch everything. That seems like a waste of my time. Hey, Sepsis, which bedroom do you want? I think you're muted.
You're muted.
Is there a
Stop dealing with
basement?
the Warhammer. You wouldn't have to mute yourself all the time.
Go on, what were you going to say?
No, I'd rather just be yelled at by my wife some more. Go on.
No, come on.
Please detail more of my failings, my love.
It's just frustrating.
Sepsis.
Is there a basement?
I don't know. I'm going to go see if there's a basement.
Okay. Are you all going to have a look around?
Yeah.
Okay, everyone roll an investigation check. With
An
advantage, because you're going to take your time.
With advantage, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I will use my new magic dice that I'm very happy with. It likes me less now.
20.
20.
19.
Okay.
Game.
15. Okay. Sepsis. It just so happens that the second door you open, the first being a store cupboard on this floor, the second door you open does lead to a set of stairs, which means that you go down into the floor. Upon venturing
Down the
downwards,
dark stairs, there was a dark stairs.
you find a space, pillared, very well constructed, and largely open plan. But it's the footprint of the house. It is a large, high-ceilinged basement, maybe 15 feet from floor to ceiling. There is down here what appears to be not very oft used cooking facilities and benches. But yeah, there is a basement.
Cooking facility, like, is it a kitchen or is it just?
It looks like it could be a kitchen if a large event was going on.
Right.
But it doesn't seem like it's been used. The oven, for example, there are no ashes. It's been cleaned out and it's not been used again in a long time. But there are benches for work, there are benches for preparation. It's a very, very easily usable space.
This will do.
That's it.
Do you call back up the stairs? This will do.
Is there
I
a,
am not surprised.
is there a bed in there? That's it?
Do you want us to throw some blankets down?
I mean, sure.
Will you use them?
Maybe.
You could throw them over the top of a table.
I could try it. Maybe.
The entrance as well, the door, is lockable.
From
The key was in the lock when you opened it. It was open, but the key was just hanging there in the lock.
Yeah.
Sepsis
Good
just
to
out
know.
of this hole.
Okay, Oriana, you got a 19?
Yeah.
Okay. You run around the house like a whirlwind, opening every door, dancing in. A great many of them are sitting rooms, or what seems to be appointed as meeting rooms. There are dining tables and chairs, but sitting to the table is thin. They're set up too close for any real eating or replacement of like plates and cutlery. So they'd probably be used as sitting areas or meeting rooms if something serious was going on. There are a great many. There are about 8 bedrooms, and they all have large double beds in them. So you can pick one.
Rich, what are you fiddling with? It's really clicky.
Sorry.
I pick if are they all the same?
Well, there are 4 on the second floor. Oh, sorry, ground floor, first floor. There are 4 on the first floor, and there are 4 on the second floor. The second floor, they're all much larger.
Go for one on the second floor.
They seem to take up the entire second floor. It's just 4 bedrooms.
Yeah, I take one of those. I want one of the highest bedrooms.
Okay, cool. So you pick out like a penthouse, one of the 4 penthouse suites.
Yeah.
The roof of all of these bedrooms is stone. However, the majority, like the central piece, is a worked, for what you now have discovered is spider silk window. So it warps and kind of skews your view a little, as if you are looking through a massive spider web. But it's quite pretty. And with the lights and kind of the will-o'-the-wisps that are floating over the buildings now, it's almost like it reminds you of a dream nighttime. It reminds you of looking at the night sky in a dream.
Nice. I immediately sit down and start strapping up my wing.
Okay. Dice, were you looking for anything particular or just having a look around?
Just having a look around. I assume Ori will yell about the bedroom, so I'll go and find the visible bedroom.
The kitchen.
Yeah, probably.
Bathrooms.
The kitchen is on the ground floor. Most of the bathrooms are on the ground floor. There also seems to be a workspace. It seemed the previous owners, for example, had outfitted a large one of the rooms on the ground floor as a hobby room. So there is a kind of a tinkering bench. There is a small forge off in the corner, which feeds to bellows that then go out into the back garden. You have a back garden. There is a small well in the back garden. You can hear water trickling down the well, trickling past, so it is fast running water. But there is a small garden. There are no vegetables, there's nothing being grown in it. It is just a small space out the back.
Didn't ask about food. And I'm going to wander through and try and find the kitchen and just check if there's anything in the cupboards.
The kitchen, the cupboards are stocked. There is a larder. It seems that there are a lot of dried ingredients. There is dried and cured meats. There's lots of dried and desiccated vegetables, but kept so that they can be ate as like hard tack. There's nothing fresh in there.
Yeah, you boil dried vegetables, you get soup. That's fine.
However, you were told that anything you wanted from the city you could find and be asked for.
Yeah, Dice hasn't wrapped her head around that. As I look into the garden, I'm going to turn to Cedric and go for a wee. And assume he's just going to look at me funny, so I close the door and giggle to myself while I go up to my room.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Ace finds one of their rooms as well. It's again on the second floor with everyone. But Ace is then the one who takes blankets from the one remaining room that no one has chosen and throws them down into the cellar.
When Ace comes with the blankets, I'm going to say, hey, do you think you could help me carry a bed down here? And by help me, I mean you carry the bed, because...
Ace goes back upstairs then to the first floor on one of the smaller bedrooms where there are single beds instead of doubles, and picks one up quite easily with Ace's strength score and moves it back downstairs.
Do I hear this happening?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, I'm just going to stick my head out my door and go, bed? Hey, Sepsis?
2 floors away.
Yeah, I'm going to trundle my way down and then call you. I'm not just going to call you from upstairs. Sepsis!
What?
Are you okay?
Why?
So, I've known you for 2 months, and never once have I seen you sleep on a bed, use blankets, or eat food. And so far today, I've seen you eat food, request blankets, and now request a bed from Ace, and I'm just concerned that you've had a brain transplant. Are you okay?
I thought it might be worth trying. Sue me.
No, it's nice. I'm really pleased. It's nice to see you settling down a little bit. Anything you need, let us know, okay?
Okay.
Why do you look so suspicious? Sorry, it's just your face. And I'm gonna go upstairs. I don't know what to do with this.
As you are moving back towards your bedroom, then you notice that one of the doors is on the first floor is ajar. As you peek your head in, Lara has kind of shifted the bed away so it's in the furthest corner from the door and has made a nest there. But it's sitting up in bed, just staring at the door.
Hey, Lara. You okay? Cool. Anything you need, let us know, somehow.
Out of one of her pockets, she takes one of the crispy and battered and broken lizards from earlier and just starts munching.
All right, you know pocket food's not actually a requirement. I don't know if you cook, but there is a kitchen. Just so you know.
And she hops off the bed and walks past you with a nod and just makes her way down to the kitchen.
I need sleep. I give up on wandering around the house talking to people, and I go up to my room and quietly close the door.
That's just desperately going around the house trying to convince people to be normal.
Basically, what is wrong with people?
Okay. So, before you all actually drift off to sleep, is there anything else you would like to do?
Get high.
Before resting? So you sitting in your room,
Lit a pipe.
you get a light pipe,
Yeah.
you get high. High as
Yeah.
balls. Okay.
It's good for the pain.
Dice?
Yeah, I'm going to spend a bit of time talking to my god.
Okay.
I can't commune or anything else. I'm just going to take a bit of time and maybe do some drawing, like just catching up on, see if I can do a map of where we've been and just talk while I'm doing it.
Pretty much what Oriana's doing while getting high.
Yeah, because I got high. Sorry.
She's talking to her god.
Roll me a tool check.
A what?
Tool check.
A tool check?
Yeah, your calligraphy tools.
Okay. Hang on 1 second. I would, but D&D Beyond is unhappy. There we go.
Dex plus your proficiency, and you can double it.
Yeah. Okay. Don't let me down. I want a legible map. Oh, nice. Thank you. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24.
Pretty cool. Okay. The map of the Underdark, as you try and start that, very quickly becomes a scroll. It's from memory, the amount of turns you took, as you're looking at it, you've drawn some strange demonic mandala, and you're quite confused by it. However, you do then decide to take out your larger map and see if there are any additions you can make to it. You remember to add Briscoe and the general direction that you believe that the train travelled when you arrived to London. You remember to mark London. You confirm from your directional sense, you get a pretty good idea now of, not the exact direction you've travelled, because that scroll was quite scary, but you infer you are a good few miles off the coast of Albion and straight down.
Makes sense.
Um,
While I'm drawing it, what I want to be sort of saying is, hey, Flandel, I know we don't talk very often. It's me, your strange human follower. You know, that race you don't even like very much. I don't really know how we reached this point, but I just wanted to check in, let you know I'm still here, still alive, still ticking along. You know, a lot of other people have heard from their gods, and I've had some dreams that I thought could in some way be related to you, but now I think perhaps they were related to Antonius. And I'm concerned that perhaps you're one of the gods who's trapped in the divine realms, but I don't know. What?
You've never heard that before. You heard the metallic bars, the very robotic sounds that Cedric can make, because he is, after all, a construct. That's the first ever time you've heard Cedric actually sound like a dog. There is flesh to the sound. There is, but there is a realism to the sound that makes you, it takes you aback.
I look at him. Is there anything different?
He wanders over to you and licks your hand, and it is warm and wet and rough, not cold and metallic as it has been previously.
I gotta say, possessing my dog is an unusual way to say hello. Yeah.
And he wags his tail.
Well, I hope I'm doing all right.
And then he jumps up on the bed next to you and kind of curls around you. And for the first time, he's exuding warmth for a moment.
You know, you always did prefer constructs to people. And that's
the warmth does eventually leave him and he goes back to being cold. But leaning against him, slightly more comfortable than it has been before.
Nice.
He seems a bit softer.
I'm probably going to fall asleep halfway through drawing with my head still on my dog, sat on the floor. I'm going to wake up with a hell of a crick in my neck.
It's exactly like real life.
You calling me old?
Sepsis.
I have nothing. I'm just going to go to bed.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Oriana, is there anything in particular you'd like to say to Hades, or you just going to get high and have a chin wag?
Mostly a chin wag, but definitely going, I don't even know if you can reach me here, or am I closer to you?
The higher you get, then. Roll me a con save.
Yes, sir. That is 13.
13. Okay. You high as balls.
Yeah, I haven't smoked in so long.
And as you stare at the spider web that makes up the window above the skyline, and the will-o'-the-wisps do their little dance in the sky above, they seem to kind of stop. And they burn a little brighter. But there is a strange shape to them. There's only two of them. And they seem to hover in a part of the web that makes it look like And you giggle, and it's funny because it looks like a face is looking down at you. And it's strange because the bottom of the web then looks like a smile, but the nose is overly large and quite hilarious and very weird. But no words come. But it does kind of remind you of Hades, if he was high as balls as well. And he's smiling.
I smile and wink at it.
One of the will-o'-the-wisp appears to go out, but you're not quite sure whether it was a wink or whether you're so high that you didn't open your eye quick enough, so you're just closing your eye, and the confusion makes you kind of just fall asleep.
Yeah, I just fall back giggling and fall asleep.
Okay. Sepsis.
Hello.
As you sleep, the ground beneath your feet is once more a grey, barren desert. Before you, that desert stretches out forever. But you seem to be in the eye of a storm. The eye is miles across, but you can see off in the distance in every direction a whirling wind. But it is not kicking up dust. The wind appears to be made of some kind of dark energy. And it's terrifying. There is something about the dark energy that puts a chill in your soul. And off in the distance there is one peak. No barren trees, no burnt rocks. There is just one piece of rock that seems to have punched through the floor, and standing atop it is the emaciated grey figure that has become familiar to you from these strange dreams. But you hear his voice as if he is standing right next to you. But it is still just a whisper, as if he is leaning in and whispering in your ear. You are far.
From what?
From my power, Sepsis.
I see.
There is little I can do with you there.
The intention is to continue traveling, I believe.
Do not tarry long there. The longer you stay, the weaker our connection might become.
I do not want that.
No, you need to watch, Sepsis. The hour of your death could possibly be approaching.
I have no intention of dying.
Watch for a green flash. Do not get caught in its light.
I fire an eldritch blast off into the distance. This kind of green flash?
No, something much more powerful than that.
More powerful. Can you tell me anything else about this?
Your friends. They can help you if you do not give them reason to doubt you for now. Control yourself if you can.
while you are there.
Is there anything that you can do to give me the strength for that?
Perhaps. And the dream starts to break. The wind starts to enclose. And just before the wind reaches you, I need your help with this soon.
I will
If
do.
this is not stopped, all is lost.
The storm?
It comes. And the dream ends.
Cool.
And you all wake up the next morning.
Ooh. That's always good.
As soon as I wake up, I go, ow, ow, ow. Okay.
Everyone roll a perception check.
Okay. Ooh, it's okay.
Not great, 6.
Oh.
16.
Dice. There's a knocking. Like a quite emphatic knocking on wood. There's a jostle of kind of metal against wood as well. And it takes a moment out of the haze of sleep to realize that someone's knocking on your front door.
Yep. And I'm gonna get up and run down the stairs and go, hello, sorry, and open the door. Sorry.
The door opens. And sweeping in, almost bowling you off your feet, is a large shape. But the only thing you get is green skin, shades of, with a splash of grey, vibrant blues, and silk as it brushes past you. And as you look up, hello, my darling. I am here to make you breakfast.
Hi.
There is a very, very large, he's like 7'5", half orc, with a chef's hat on, and a beautiful brocade coat, which he takes off, and underneath he's just like shirtless with a pinny.
Okay, but you can't kill this one. No, Rich, that was aimed at you, and it wasn't.
All right, okay.
Thank you. That would be much appreciated, actually.
A pleasure to meet you. My name is Grump.
Rump.
Grump, where is the kitchen?
My name is Dice. It's this way. Sorry, I was very rude not introducing myself first. I'm taking...
No, it is okay. You have only just woken up and you have not had food yet. You have lovely hair. I love it. Come with me. And he drags you behind him to the kitchen.
As I'm being dragged, I go, REA sepsis, Lila.
I'm already making my way down the stairs slowly, like with the sheets wrapped around me. just holding my deck of tarot cards, like, what the fuck is going on?
As you get there, you find Dice.
Honey is just wild running around the house.
Dice has already been sat at like a breakfast bar, and you walk in and find this large half orc just like immediately start like emptying packs, and they start making breakfast for everyone.
Morning.
I was employed by your benefactor, and I have come to make you breakfast and tell you all about the wonderful city of Feldé.
Thank you.
Great.
Who are you? Let's get to know each other.
My name is Ariana Deverak.
Excellent. Tea, coffee, or whiskey for breakfast?
Tea.
Fine, I'll have the whiskey.
And I need to mix you a cup of tea. It just takes a swig of a hip flask.
You can put the whiskey in the tea.
Ah, I knew I liked you. Just pours the whiskey in the tea.
I have a lot of mechanical building to do today, I think, perhaps potentially, or some learning. I don't think I can have whiskey, but I'd love a coffee.
We'll make it a Highland coffee maker. And he puts a little bit of whiskey in and gives you a coffee for the morning.
Coffee with
So, tell me all about yourselves. What have you seen? Where have you been? And with that, we'll actually leave it there.
Where's me and Ori going? Maud.
I have got one thing to add.
Okay.
Is that I do spread the tarot cards out on the table and read them.
Okay.
So I'll do 3. I'm going to just try and get it down to 1 or 2 words for each one now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easier. So the first one was the magician that was reversed, which means manipulation.
Okay.
Second was the empress, upright, and it's femininity or nurturing.
Okay.
And then the hierophant, which is also upright, which is spiritual wisdom and conformity.
Interesting.
Okay.
And I just stare at them blankly because I am hungover.
I'm drinking my coffee and staring at a wall.
Yeah, I read it.
Reading for next time.
Yeah, I read it out to Dice and then just start chugging my tea.
I feel like Sepsis like poked their head out of the basement, heard all of the talking, and was like, "No." Just, like quietly closed the door and went back down.
How does it go? I'm in.
Cool.
And for that reason, I'm out.
Sepsis is a teenager when their family comes to visit. Like, I'll just stay in my room.
Okay, so with that, yes, we'll bring the session to an end. We are going to do what we did in campaign 1, which I believe was quite successful, and what I'd let you do for like a week or 2 weeks while I did. We're going to have a bit of downtime, so the next session will very probably be a lot of running through any interactions that downtime will promote, if there are any. But yes, that is the end of session 36. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for coming along. Sorry we took so long for David. Please check out our YouTube. It's the first time I've actually plugged it. Please check out our YouTube.
Today.
Oh yeah, the channel has actually just been plugged by Nightbot. Wonderful. Yes, please take anyone you can over to the YouTube, get them to subscribe, just so we can change the horrific URL.
It's fine if you subscribe and don't ever watch a video. That's perfectly fine. We just
put like 1 video up a week. It's really easy to ignore in your subscription box.
Mm-hmm.
It's garbage. This URL.
And please, tell your friends. There is 1 video already on there, appendices number 1, world and basic character information, just for a catch-up. I will be adding more. It's just very difficult to condense what is now 100+ hours of this session into like 10 minutes to make it a manageable chunk. But I will get there. Trust me. But yes, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for watching, or those who will watch. Recap when. Yes, Stu, I've literally just mentioned it.
Stu, you're like one of very few people who's actually watched all the episodes.
Yeah, I know, you don't need a recap. You've seen them all. And the ones you missed, you went back and watched on our YouTube. So yes, Stu will attest. It's actually very interesting, and you should actually go back and watch them all, but the catch-up will be on this soon. Please, if you can, I cannot stress this enough, come and support us in not this weekend coming, but the weekend after. Come and support the channel for the 48-hour charity stream that will be going on noon Friday the 28th until noon Sunday the 30th. We're going to be running Vampire on Friday evening. We're going to be running Vampire Masquerade, which is...
Still haven't made a character.
Don't worry, we'll sort it out now this week. It's the first time a lot of these players will have actually played this game. So, should be either very interesting or incredibly slow as we get to grips with all of the rules. But yes, please come along, it'll be fun. There's going to be so many other creators getting involved as well. And if you can, click on the links and donate, please. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us for session 36. Please join us next week for session 37, when we will discover what the guys are going to do with their time in Feldé. But yeah, we love you all. Stay safe. And
Spoiler warning: sepsis is going to take up crochet.
see you next week.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.